I'm joined now by former Democratic 2020 presidential candidate Andrew Yang. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us. I want to discuss Georgia in a moment. I know that's something close to your heart, but what do you think are the major lessons right now for your Democratic Party in the wake of President Joe Biden's victory? President-elect Joe Biden's victory, I should say.
We're still elated to be saying the words President-elect Joe Biden. And I thought both his speech and Kamala's speech last night were tremendous. But you can't ignore the fact that Democrats lost seats in the House, which was not what they expected at all. And that the Senate, there was a chance that it could tip blue. But right now, it looks like Mitch McConnell is going to be the majority leader. And that could hamstring Joe's legislative agenda from day one, because we've seen this movie before. We remember Mitch McConnell, the obstructionist during the Obama years, and that could recur very easily unless Georgia decides to have both of its Senate seats go to Democrats on January 5th.
And you're going to be working hard on that. Stand by. I want to discuss that. But do you think, Andrew, that the lack of a coronavirus economic stimulus deal in these past several weeks actually cost Democrats seats in some of those races in the House of Representatives? The Democrats were hoping to expand their majority in the House. That didn't happen. They lost several seats.
I genuinely do think the lack of a stimulus bill was a real problem for Democrats, because everyone associates the government trying to help people out with Democrats. They know that the Democrats love the government as a force for good in people's lives. And so the fact that citizens around the country were waiting and waiting and waiting from April to now November with no second stimulus relief, I think really set Democrats back around the country and made more Americans open to a message of mistrust and that government is not working for them, which unfortunately is resonant with the Trump message.
What are the chances that the House and Senate might hammer out some sort of economic stimulus deal in this lame duck session in November or December?
I obviously hope that they get to business next week. And Mitch has said that he believes a stimulus bill should pass by year end, but we're not sure, because the fact is lame duck sessions are not conducive to large scale legislation. President Trump is going to be completely checked out and preoccupied arguing for another alternate version of reality rather than looking at legislation. So this is what I'd feared, Wolf, is that we'd find ourselves in a lame duck session, unable to pass relief while Americans were suffering. I certainly hope that Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi can come together and hammer out a deal that should have been passed weeks or months ago.
I know you were outspoken on this issue. As you know, the president-elect Joe Biden, he's on the cusp of winning Georgia. I just checked. He's ahead still by 10,353 votes. Do you think the momentum will carry over into the likely two Senate races there in early January, and the Democratic candidates potentially have a shot at winning? Because I know you're actually planning what? You want to go there and campaign for these Democrats.
Yeah, my family's moving to Georgia probably sometime next week to campaign for John Ossoff and Reverend Warnock, because it's so vital that we deliver to Joe a Senate that he can work with. But these special elections are typically an uphill battle for Democrats. Democratic voters are not used to voting in January. And so we have a lot of work to beat the drum and get the awareness level up to the fact that these elections in the Senate are vital to the direction of the entire country, and that hopefully the way people in Georgia came out to vote for Joe Biden will be the exact same way they vote in these special Senate races on January 5th.
Yeah, we will see what happens. Republicans, as you know, they argue that a Republican Senate majority is key to preventing the president-elect Biden and the Democrats from implementing what they charge will be a far-left agenda. So how do you think the Democrats, the two Democratic candidates in Georgia, for example, counter that message?
We can just look around us, Wolf. Communities are suffering in Georgia and around the country, and we need a robust legislative agenda to help dig us out in the form of cash relief to families, relief for restaurants and small businesses, aid to city and state government so that they're not forced to turn around and lay off more workers. And all of that is much more difficult in an environment where Mitch McConnell is saying no, no, no to anything that's going to help people. So this message to me should win, because anyone looking around saying, wait a minute, my local restaurant just closed, someone should be doing something about that small business owner the same way that they're doing something about the big corporations or the banks and airlines that have been receiving stimulus relief in their own way from the original CARES Act. So this is something that I feel very strongly about, strongly enough where we're heading down to Georgia, and I'm going to go door to door and make this case to people in the state, because it's so vital that we have a government that can actually respond to the challenges of our time.
Would you like to serve in the Biden administration?
If they offer a role where I can contribute, Wolf, I'd be thrilled. I ran for president because I care very deeply about the future that we're going to leave to our children, to the next generation. And it's not trending positively. So if I can contribute in some way, count me in. They know that, though. I mean, I've been texting back and forth with various people.
Is there a specific position you'd like?
I ran on trying to humanize our economy, universal basic income, which is something that 55% of Americans now agree with. 82% of Americans agree with cash relief during the pandemic. But I'm also passionate about trying to speed up our government on technology-related issues, because we've fallen way behind the curve in ways that are destructive for our democracy, bad for our mental health. Social media in particular has become very, very distorting and has some negatives associated with it as well as positives that our government has not gotten its arms around in the least. So that's something I would love to help with as well.
All right. I'm sure they're seriously considering it, and we'll see what happens. Andrew Yang, good luck. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yang is heading to Georgia, Wolf. We got to win these races.
It's a great state. You're going to love Georgia for the next few months. Appreciate it very much.
Put the money in our hands. 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 Can we afford it? Yes. Will it cause inflation? No. Is it awesome? Yes. Is anyone trying to make it happen? Yeah, that guy.